Hello everyone and welcome to a small crossover SUV which has refined road manners, it's premium on the inside and it's also rugged, which is this 2025 Mazda CX-50. Well, it has snowed a lot last night, about 15 centimeters or even more than that, and to give you an example, yeah, it still goes inside my hand. Gosh, it's so cold now. Anyways, let's begin with our review. So this CX-50 is offered in 5 different trims. GSL with a 2.5 liter cylinder deactivation technology and 6-speed automatic gearbox. There is the GT that comes with 2 different variants, the 2.5 liter engine and the 2.5 liter turbocharged engine, and there is the Meridian Edition, and on top of that inside there are 2 more variants, but they all come with 2.5 liter turbocharged engine, and there is an Apex variant also. So the particular variant that I'm reviewing is the CX-50 GT variant with a 2.5 liter turbocharged engine. In terms of the shape and the design, the Meridian Edition is more off-road focused, like in terms of the design, because if you look at that, there are decals and it's more rugged in terms of its appearance. But in terms of the performance, nearly every CX-50 that you pick, the GSL, even though it's just the standard 2.5 liter engine, still has all the same recipe in terms of the offerings. So let's begin from the front. So out here there is this slimmer glossy black grille with the Mazda badging here and some more glossy plastic surrounding that too, and next to them are these slimmer headlights. So these headlights are the dynamic headlight cluster, so they move around with the steering input, so it also becomes like the cornering lights too. And there are also DRLs on the outer side of it, like a ring, and the main headlight that stays on but kept a little on the lower side, so that becomes the DRLs. And in terms of the turn signals, they are provided at the bottom out here, so they are split at the bottom too, and these are the fading turn signals, so they are not like blinking on and off, but they fade. So yeah, that's the Mazda sort of offering on these, or actually on any Mazda models. And at the bottom there is just normal plastic with the silver color plastic at the bottom. There are these vents which are the functional vents behind these meshed grills, so they help with added cooling effect also for the braking also. And there is also one of the cameras for the safety systems, because there is the adaptive cruise control and also the passenger warnings or the pedestrian warnings for the front, and also the collision warnings and everything is offered using that camera. So the difference between the CX-5 and the CX-50 is that the CX-50 is slightly more longer and it's also a little more spacious also in terms of the arrangement, whereas it's also more rugged, as you can see from its appearance. So on this variant there are 20-inch dual tone alloy wheels, and it also comes with the winter tires currently, and you can see it's put well in use right now. There are also skirtings on the fender, thick ones, again that gives that ruggedness look. Also, again, check out the Meridian Edition, because that actually gives it like a proper look, rugged look in terms of its appearance. There are more normal plastic skirtings at the bottom too. They completely cover the frame, so it's actually quite useful currently. As you can see, the car is quite dirty. Even in the back there are more plastic skirtings on the fender too, so as to protect your fenders. Also, in terms of the side mirrors, so these are the glossy black side mirrors. They are power foldable, power adjustable. They also have the blind spot warning on the inside, and also one of the cameras from the 360-degree camera system, and the side mirrors also have the fading turn signals. There are also these silver color roof rails provided on the top, and also a panoramic sunroof, and also slightly high riding shoulder in the back too. When you come to these doors, so the front doors are the keyless entry doors. There is also CX-50 illuminated badging on the front door sills, whereas in the back it's non-illuminated, but there is a CX-50 badging. And all CX-50 come with all-wheel drive as standard. Now pick up any Mazda model from smaller car to a bigger car, but in terms of the appearance there is a very standard technique that is always followed. So these headlight designs, and in terms of the overall appearance, so you don't miss out actually in terms of getting all the same benefits even from a smaller to a bigger car. Now on this CX-50 there are these full set of LED tail lights, and in the middle on the outer edge of this tail light there are the fading turn signals, and the entire cluster is completely LED. And in terms of the overall visibility from the rear, it's decent, a bit restricted, especially if there are lots of passengers, like all the 3 passengers sitting in the back, then it might get a little restricted because the pillars on either side are slightly on the thicker side. And there's also the Mazda badging here, the CX-50 all-wheel drive badging, and the Sky Active G turbo badging that is provided. There are also these plastic bumpers, normal plastic ones, so that is just more easier if you go off-roading and damage these bits, and silver color plastic bumper at the bottom, and dual exhaust tips on either side. There are also these fake vents here. They are not the functional ones, but just for the appearance. Now, in order to open the trunk door, you press the button and it's an electronically operated tailgate. Now, when the rear seats are folded up, you can put 31.4 cubic feet of luggage in the back, which is not that big, but Mazda says it's enough for everyday use, and I see that because it's much more even, and it also sits quite low also, so it's just much more easier to load your luggage in and out. There are also rubber mats provided in the back and also on the inside too, as a part of the winter package with the CX-50 badging on it. There are also scuff plates so that you don't damage your plastic bumper. There are more storages on either side too. There are also more hooks provided on the inside. There is also one more hood light given on the left side and one more in the door too. Now, at the bottom of the trunk floor sits a temporary spare wheel along with the tool kit. Now, in order to fold down the rear seats, which are foldable in a ratio of 60:40, so in order to do that, there are levers provided in the back, so it's pretty convenient, and the quality of those levers is actually pretty good. So you pull them. I'm just going to do one side because on the other side there is the child seat, so you do that and it easily folds away. Now, when the rear seats are folded down completely, you can put 56.3 cubic feet of luggage, which is pretty good, and the floor itself is quite even, so you can load a lot of things and it's just much more easier to slide the luggage in and out from the trunk. And once you're done, in order to close it, press the button because it's an electronically operated tailgate on this CX-50. Now, sit in any Mazda and they do not fail to deliver in terms of the interior experience, and this CX-50 is no different. So on this GT variant of the CX-50, there are soft touch materials provided on the dashboard. On top of that, even on the door cards, there's soft touch materials. On the side face of the dashboard, there is the leatherette material with the terracotta stitching, orange color. Even on the door cards, there is same orange color stitching with the leatherette material on the top where you're going to be resting hands. That's again soft material. Around the switches and everything, again pretty good use of plastic materials. Even here on the handrest, there is the soft touch material. Here in the center console, there is glossy plastic, and then where the cup holders and everything are, that's where there is just normal plastic, the rubbery kind of feeling. I wish that was made into something a little more appealing material. And the side of the glove box also is in normal plastic, but even the side face here is in normal plastic, so it's slightly on the harder side when you're resting the legs against that. And these seats again are the leatherette seats with the orange color terracotta stitching provided on them, and they are the perforated seats. But overall, the material quality is pretty good on the inside, and it does not fail to deliver in terms of the premium experience. Now, when we come to the driver's display, so there is a 7-inch digital driver's display provided in the center of this cluster, and on either side there are fixed dials that show you various bit of information, RPM counter, fuel, and the temperature. That's about it. And in the middle, you can change the information, which is from the buttons provided on the left side of the steering wheel. And again, that's also quite straightforward. Just press the info button and you can cycle through 3 different menu options. That's about it. So drive information, the driving assistance, or switch it off completely, so it just shows you the standard speedometer in the middle. And the information that you see on either side of the speedometer, that can be changed from inside the settings. You go in vehicle displays, then the instrument cluster display where there is the fuel efficiency and range display. Go to type 1 or the type 2, so it becomes digital 2 bar setup, or you can switch them completely off. But that's about it. That's how you use the driver's display on the Mazda CX-50. Very, very easy, and pretty much every Mazda also comes with the exact same setup. So you can just hop into any Mazda cars and you are ready to go because you already know how it functions. Now when we come to the steering wheel, so this is a leather covered steering wheel with buttons given on either side, and also the chrome bits in the middle with the Mazda badging, and also at the bottom some more chrome. And this steering wheel is manually adjustable, tilt and telescopic. There are also paddle shifters provided in the back. This thing comes with 6-speed automatic transmission, but you can take over control in case you feel very sporty. Now there are buttons provided on the right side for the adaptive cruise control, the lane keep assist and all of that. So those buttons are on the right, whereas on the left side there are buttons to change the information on the driver's display and the media controls and the voice controls. That's about it. Very straightforward and just easy setup. So even in that department, Mazda has done an incredible job. Now when we come to the air conditioning controls, it's got the dual zone air conditioning system on this CX-50 GT variant, and again dials and buttons to operate that, straightforward. And there is an on and off dial, so you switch it on, and then dials on either side to change the temperature, and in the middle to change the fan speed and the flow of air, and switch on the AC or fresh circulation of air. That's about it. That's how you operate the air conditioning controls. And there's also the button provided for the heated steering wheel on the left side at the bottom of the air conditioning controls. And there are more buttons provided at the bottom of the main air conditioning controls. So those buttons are for the heated and the cooled seats, which is the driver and the passenger side seat both. So again, straightforward buttons are given for that too. So in terms of the operation, how to operate this thing, yeah, it's very tactile, because there are still dials and buttons for everything, because nowadays they seem to be going away because of the modernization and giving you touch buttons and stuff. But on this it's fairly straightforward and less distracting. Now on this CX-50 GT variant, there is also the heads-up display, quite crisp and clear. So it shows you speed limit and also the speedometer in the middle, and also the cruise control, lane keep assist and all of that. And also, in order to change any information on the driver's the heads-up display, so you go into the settings, in vehicle display, and Mazda calls it active driving display. You go inside, then you can adjust the height, brightness, tilt and everything. And also when you're doing the navigation, it shows the directions on that with the lanes and everything marked on that too. So guidance, navigation, everything is possible on that heads-up display. Now when we come to the infotainment screen, this is a 10.25 Mazda Connect infotainment system. Again, every Mazda just comes with the exact same setup, and sometimes I wish like there is a bit of an upgrade in terms of the screen and the layout, because it's like due now, I feel. And also it's not a touch screen, but it becomes touch screen when you operate Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So the Google Maps that you use, or any maps, or even the screen itself becomes responsive. But if you are driving, again it goes non-responsive, so then you have to use these dials and joysticks that are provided here. So there are buttons given here, the ones, so you can use them while on the move, because I get it, because it's a bit of a stretch in order to operate this screen. So this one is quite easier, and then there are shortcut buttons around, and also this joystick, and also a physical volume dial too. And also there's a favorite star button, so you can set your home, work, whatever you want to, Sirius XM, anything that can be set from the favorite button. So in order to operate this infotainment screen, so you scroll up into the information, then there is the fuel efficiency monitor, shows you what's the fuel economy, day-to-day vehicle status monitor, what's the service, all of that. Then we go to the entertainment, where there are connectivity options. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect it to this infotainment system using Bluetooth, USB, and there's also wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So you can use the Google Maps also, or Apple Maps, from the system by connecting your phone to that. There's also Alexa, and also the Sirius XM, which is a complimentary package provided for a few months. Then there is the communication, shows you SMS, phone options, call history and all of that when your phone is connected. Then inbuilt navigation system, which I don't understand why there is a purpose to provide that now, because you already have the Google Maps or Apple Maps when you're connected using the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But yes, nonetheless, if you're not going to use that, then there are these options also provided, and then you go into the menu and search where to, point of contact and interest and everything from inside. So let's go back and then we continue the details settings, where there is in-vehicle displays for the heads-up display, center display, instrument cluster, then sound settings. So there are Bose music system provided on this GT variant and upwards even on the Meridian variant of the CX-50. Safety systems, vehicle settings, doors, exterior lighting, rain sensing wipers and all of that. Then the connectivity options, Alexa settings and the system settings, units and language and home region, temperature and all of that can be set from this side. And there is a very easy shortcut button also provided. So if you want to connect to the Android Auto or the Apple CarPlay, you can just flick this dial upwards to go into Android Auto, or if you go back and then you flick it down, you go into the Apple CarPlay. And if you flick on the left side, the same joystick, then it shows you notifications also. In terms of the charging, so there is a 12-volt power socket given underneath the air conditioning controls, and there's also a wireless charger that is tucked underneath this handrest. So it's a bit of an awkward place, so you have to open it and then see it. At first you may miss it, but yes, it's tucked in underneath of that. And inside this handrest there are two USB ports, and for the rear passengers also there are two more USB ports. Now on this GT variant of the CX-50, there is also an emergency SOS button for all the emergency purposes, and there are also these extendable sun visors. So the extension is on the edge of it, so you can extend that. Comes in quite handy because these doors are quite long. And also there is a panoramic sunroof. I'm not going to open the roof because it is right now -4 degrees and it's snowing. So as you can see, I've gotten very comfortable on the inside. But yes, the roof that actually opens up like the sunroof, that's actually quite tiny, which for some reason doesn't make sense. But anyways, in winters you're just gonna observe it through the glass, but that way it's quite airy and open. Now there's also a switch provided for the various drive modes, and also this gear shifter. So first let me come to the gear shifter. It's quite easy to operate: reverse, neutral, drive, manual, again go back into the parking mode, and this switch to go to different driving modes. So you can switch from sport, and also the dials change the color. They become red for sport, and then for normal it's white, and for off-road it becomes like the sand dusty color, so you know what mode you are on. But there are like straightforward 3 different driving modes, and because there is an all-wheel drive system, the all-wheel drive system, so it takes care of all the torque distribution and everything. Now there are also more buttons provided on the left side for the switching off of the lane keep assist and all the safety systems, and also for the 360-degree camera system. The 360-degree camera system, the output from that is actually very good. The quality of that is very nice, but it's just that the angle sometimes can be a little lower at certain angles, so I switched to different view, which is from the front or the back. But yeah, and also it's got a lot of flicking to do to get into different views also, but maybe it was just put in one single screen, then it might get a little easier to operate while on the move. But nonetheless, yes, very crystal clear 360-degree camera system. Then the traction control off, and also the iStop, which is the engine start stop button. So you're sitting in the signal, it would not switch off the car. Now in terms of the storage, so in the door cards you can easily put 1 liter worth of bottle and some more storage on the back. Maybe you can squeeze in 1.5 liter, but that will be a bit of a struggle. There are also 2 flexible cup holders provided underneath the air conditioning controls, and behind that there's another pad, rubbery texture, where you can put your phones and wallets. And there's also this center armrest that has double doors, so you can open either side of it, and inside again you can put your phones and wallets. There is also the glove box, a bit on the tiny side. And in the rear door cards, again you can put 1 liter worth of bottle and some more slight amount of storage in the back. And there are also 2 cup holders provided in the center armrest. Now when we come to these seats, so these are the leatherette seats with the orange color terracotta stitching. They are the perforated seats because they are the heated and the cooled seats, and they are on the sporty side because, not to forget, this is the GT variant, which is why the headrest and all, they feel a lot more on the sportier side. But the seat themselves, they are slightly on the firmer side is what I found. Not exactly very soft, but I get it because it's the GT variant, which is why they've tried to make it a little more sporty. But in terms of the overall comfort, it offers a lot of that because they are very broad, and even the backrest does not have a very sporty sort of shoulder on the side, so you can like fit inside these seats quite easily. And also there's good amount of support underneath my thigh also, and there is lots of adjustability options too. And the headrest is also quite squishy and soft too, and at the bottom there is good amount of support on the sides too. And as I said, there is also the orange color terracotta stitching. Now in terms of the adjustability, so the driver side seat is 8-way electronically adjustable and 2-way lumbar adjustment, whereas the passenger side seat is 4-way electronically adjustable. So the passengers in the rear of this CX-50 would find slightly compromised space arrangement. Now in terms of the knee room, there is almost 3 fingers, or maybe I can just call 2 fingers worth of knee room here, and the headroom is just about enough. But although someone about 6 feet will start struggling and then they might start brushing their heads against the ceiling, there's a bit of a cutout provided to increase the height of the roof. And not just that, the passenger seat in the front has been pushed slightly ahead, and that's why you see there's a bit of a space on this side. But otherwise, this is my driving position, and this seat is adjusted according to that. And after that, there is just this much of space, and also there is this panoramic sunroof that hinders the overall height of the roof also. So when you sit inside, that's going to come right above your head. Now in terms of the comfort, so the seats at the bottom are actually quite comfortable, but the backside is slightly on the firmer side is what I feel. And the good part is that they are not the bench type of setup, so they are not like flat but a little bit angled, so that makes it easier for the under thigh support. So there is good amount of under thigh support, that's for sure. And also the angle that my legs are making, you can make out from that too. And the backrest is also at a very good angle, so you're not going to struggle with that. So the only thing is that yes, the seats are slightly on the firmer side, and they are the same black color material, and they are the terracotta stitching orange one, and they are perforated seats, but they are not the cooled seats, but they are the heated seats. And the buttons are provided in this center tunnel underneath the air conditioning vents that are provided for the rear passengers. So that's where you will find those buttons. And there is also a middle seat too, and there is also a bit of a tunnel that goes in the back in the rear, so that hampers the space for the middle passengers also. And you can slide your legs under the seat because there is enough of space for that, but then you don't need that much of space to extend, because that way you're like just sitting upright. Now when I sit in the middle seat, again the bottom and the backrest is actually quite firm, so it's more of a temporary arrangement for sure. There is also a handrest inside which there is a tissue paper, which I must have forgotten, and there is also 2 cup holders, which are the standard cup holders, which are located in the front, and there is good space in the back, so you can rest your hands also, and it's also quite broad too. There are 3 headrests also given in the back. And in terms of the storage, as I said, in the door cards you can put 1 liter worth of water, some more storage. There's also pocket storage provided in the passenger side seat. In terms of the door card quality, it's normal plastic that returns in the back. There's no terracotta stitching on the side face also, again that's just soft material where you're going to be resting hands, again that's also softer material. And the bottom there is just normal plastic, but you do get the Bose music system on this GT variant. Now there are also 2 air conditioning vents provided for the rear passengers, so at least the winters and summers are going to be bearable, because you can keep yourself warm or cold during the respective phases. And also the buttons provided for the heated seats, and underneath that there are 2 USB ports. But overall, in terms of the arrangement, I like the seating position inside this car because it's definitely much better than a lot of small crossover SUVs. But yes, in terms of the comfort, it can slightly improve in terms of offering that. So this CX-50 GT variant is powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder twin turbo scroll turbocharged engine that is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission, and also there are paddle shifters too. Now in terms of the power generation, so there are various figures that Mazda has sent. So if you put 93 octane petrol in this, then it produces 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. Those were like quite a big bumps. And if you put 87 octane fuel, then this thing produces 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, and the torque comes in at around 2,000 to 2,500. But yes, those are the figures, and that's what it produces based on the quality of fuel. But the torque comes in at 2,000. Now I'm a bit afraid because it's snowed and the conditions are slippery, so it's very, very responsive. And there is also an artificial sort of sound that is pumped inside the cabin, so that sounds like very sporty also when you accelerate, like, see that? But yes, but it feels like you're driving a sedan and not like a small crossover SUV. Now, as I said, in terms of the response, it's actually very good. It's so precise. It's unlike anything that you've driven. It's sharp and it responds to the throttle very well. In fact, if you put this thing into the sport mode, then it just erupts immediately. Like, there's only like 0.2 seconds of delay, that's about it, but otherwise, yes, it just charges on. So yeah, in terms of the overall transmission, it's just very good. And as I said, the GSP variant comes in with 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, and it's also got the cylinder deactivation technology, so that helps in improving the fuel economy. Now, coming to the fuel economy, so this same 2.5 liter turbocharged engine on longer runs on the highways, I managed to get around 9.5 to 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers. I definitely expected a slightly better economy, because the standard one without the turbocharger, that produces 185 horsepower, 187 pound-feet of torque, and that actually delivers better figures, so in terms of the fuel economy. But yes, this one, yeah, suffers that. And inside the city, I've managed to get around 10 to 10.5 liters per 100 kilometers. So those are the realistic values that you can expect from this CX-50 GT variant. Now, when we come to the handling and the suspension, so first things first, the things that have improved underneath for this 2025 generation is the G vectoring control. So this has been improved, and as a result of that, there is not much body roll, and that improves the steering ability. It gives you a very confidence inducing driving experience, and every Mazda that you pick has one of the best handling in its class. Pick up any cars, they are the best ones, and this one is no different too. And in terms of the steering, like, yes, it's precise, it's sharp, it's got good amount of response, and I can feel pretty much like sharp, direction changes whenever I'm putting the input. And again, the GVC, which is the G vectoring control, plays a big role in that to make sure that there is grip all the time, especially in days, because this thing comes with all-wheel drive and it's distributing the power very well, even though there are certain areas where there is like slightly slippery conditions, but it's doing very well in terms of putting the power down. So in terms of the suspensions, they are slightly on the firmer side, because I believe this is a GT variant, so that's just something that can be softened a little bit, because you might feel some of the bumps quite easily through your bottoms through this chair. So yeah, that's just one thing that can be improved in terms of the overall suspension. But I get why, because of it gives the car the ability to be sporty and to respond in a way like no other cars would usually respond. Now, when we come to the brakes, so there are 4 disc brakes on this GT variant of the CX-50, and in terms of the response, they are fairly good. The pedal is firm, the brake pedal, and it's got good amount of progressive travel also, and the braking action itself is quite strong. So let me accelerate, and just it calculates with the ABS and everything very well, so that's pretty good. Now, in terms of the noise and the vibrations, so as I said, there's artificial sound that's pumped inside for sure, because whenever I accelerate, now this is where there were big bumps, just going to be very gentle with the car, because last time I just went woof woof straight through them, and that's where the suspensions felt a little on the harder side. But yes, so in terms of the noise and the vibrations, there is a bit of tire noise from these tires, and also from the wheel well. There's not much wind whooshing, but yes, there is general leakage of sound from underneath the floor, and I can hear it every time I'm going through these bumps or like the puddles and stuff. But otherwise, yes, the engine sounds sweet, again with the artificial sound blasted inside. It makes it very lively in terms of operating this car. Now, when we come to the safety system, so there are 8 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger. There are also 2 curtain airbags provided in the frames, and there are also 2 knee airbags for the driver and the passenger in the front too. Then there is child isofix points in both the rear seats. Then There is also a 360-degree camera system. As I said, the output from that is brilliant. It's actually very, very crisp. I like that. And in terms of the other safety systems, there's tire pressure monitoring system, there's lane keep assist, lane departure warning, then the adaptive cruise control. All of that seems to function very well. When we come to the pricing, so the base variant, which is the GSP, comes in at $39,950, which is around $40,000, whereas this GT variant, the standard 2.5 liter engine, that comes for $45,000. The GT, this one, turbocharged engine, comes in at $47,000, and the Meridian Edition, both of them come for $50,000, and the Apex one comes in at $51,000 something dollars. I'm going to put the exact pricing on your screen. So in terms of the pricing, yes, they might sound expensive, but they are one of the refined cars that you will ever drive. Like they are joy to drive for sure. Mazdas are, you look forward to driving these cars, and if you are something who like enjoys finer things, this is the car for you, because this will deliver on that, and the interior experience is truly premium. Yes, there is the GSP variant, which is the base variant. You can opt for that too, because all of them come with the all-wheel drive and all of that is standard, just that there's no turbocharger. But hey, that also improves the fuel economy, so maybe you can opt for that too. So in terms of that department, it is very good looking car for sure. It's got very less, aggressive angles and curves on the outside, and it's much more smoother design in terms of its appearance, very minimalist and to the point. It's also got great dynamics. I mean, if anything, then dynamics is something which is why you should opt for this car. Definitely this is one of the top small crossover SUVs in its segment, because it's such a joy driving this machine. And as I said, if you are someone who enjoys finer things, this is the car for you. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching this video, and if you've liked this video, make sure to press the thumbs up button and leave a like on this video. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care and drive safe.